So the number one thing that I think my advice always is, comparison is a thief of joy. We all have different situations. Our kids have different needs. And I have 2 girls that have autism and 1 with ADHD also, and both have anxiety. So our homeschool looks like so different than everybody else's. And I think that from curriculum to how you, like the days you homeschool to the hours you, everything is going to look different. So like that's my number one advice is don't compare at all. Okay, we homeschool for a reason. We want to have fun with our kids. We want our kids to my goal is to foster a love of learning. And so by doing that, I make it fun. So making it fun looks like we always do back to school pictures. It's back to school still for us, just they're not going to school. And so I always do pictures of my kids. We make it a big deal. We go, I have a friend that does our pictures and they go pick out one outfit at the store. So they have a back to school outfit. So we make it fun that way. And then we always have a back to school party. Some people have been, I try and include people as I get to know people. I do like quarterly homeschool like friends. And so like this is just we do it usually the night before we start. We just do a dinner and then decorations. But like I did have some friends over that homeschool and drink bar with fun names. Like I just want to make it fun because not only for the kids, but for moms, because we all need a community, right? So we just make back to school a really big deal. Again, making it fun, get everybody excited. Okay, curriculum choice. I think that, again, we all need to remember everybody is so different, and you can go research. We can all go to Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and we can find tons and tons of sources of moms who say, oh, this is the best one, this is the best. And that's great. I think you should research. I think it's great to talk to other homeschool families because some people have a lot of experience. You will have tons. I've kind of found the people that I like, that I trust, but I'm a spiritual person. I pray about every single kid, or my 2 kids. I pray about what they need specifically because it looks different than everybody else. But again, it's still okay, I think, to like talk to other people and say, you know, this is what my kid needs, or they don't like spiral curriculum or whatever. I think it's just important to realize your kid is yours and you know best. Other people don't know them. So I do, again, pray about it. I'm LDS, so I also take their name to the temple with me and think about them because I think if it's important to me, it's important to God. So one thing that people don't talk about is leaving a curriculum. It's okay if it's not working to say and talk to other moms again or parents and say what works, because again, what works for one family is not going to work for another. So it's okay. Like you DNF a book, DNF a curriculum, because you want the success. You want them to feel like they're doing good. And then another thing is set yourself up for success. This one is hard because, again, I go back to comparison is the thief of joy. You see some people with these crazy, amazing homeschool rooms, and they set themselves up with, gorgeous, the whole, our first year homeschooling, we were at our kitchen table and we had 1 bookshelf. And that's okay. It worked. She still learned. She still did well. That's in the next slide you can go to. So there's in the kitchen, a tiny little corner that we use. This is our setup now. We've moved. We have a different area, but it's okay. But my whole point of set yourself up is to honestly just have an area of organized. You don't want to go looking for your math when you leave it somewhere. It's okay to school somewhere else. Like we school on our trampoline. We have you can't see it. We have a swing. My daughter sits in the swing and we do math facts. It can be whatever works. But again, the tramp, we go to the park. So, but I think it's important to have your stuff in one area so you know where your stuff is, because it's hard to be like, oh, where did you put the manipulatives? Where did you? So anyways, that's kind of what I took from, that's all I got from back to school. That's what it looks like for us.
traditions surrounding our start of the school year. You can go to the next slide. I want to give you a little background first, and some of this was in the introduction, but we started homeschooling in 2020. Right, we were having our 4th baby, and we were in the hospital in February, and he was born in February, and then COVID hit right after that. So we were actually pretty pumped. We liked being home, and we liked, my husband was home from work, and it was awesome. It was like a little slice of heaven. So we thought, this is pretty great. At the time, I had a kid in 2nd grade or 3rd grade, and then one in kindergarten. And so they agreed that it was great staying home. And so that's how we kind of started. And I knew, though, that they would miss some of those traditions surrounding the back to school time of year. And so I thought, okay, let's remedy this. Let's have our own traditions. I actually read this and I thought it was interesting. I wanted to share it. It says, people thrive when they have a mix of new and novel experiences combined with steadfast foundations like a home, family routines, and traditions. If novelty is like the surprise sweeping winds that stir the ocean's waves or dance with a kite in the sky, then foundations provide the gravitational conditions that sustain the atmosphere. They are a balm to the soul and food for the body. So I love this because this is what I try to do in our homeschool. I love introducing novel things. I love doing something surprising and something fun and new, but I also love like the foundation. You know, we're home, we have these traditions that my kids count on every single year. And so that's kind of what I go for in mine. I do have 2 caveats. I'm really bad at taking pictures of my kids when we're having fun together. I just don't even think about it. So I tried to include some pictures, but they're not great. And I am really confident in what I do in my homeschool, but it doesn't make me an expert in your homeschool. So please just know that whatever I share is just what works for me, and it might be different for you. Okay, so on the first day of public school, we have a back to public school party. In August of 2020, which was the first official year that we were homeschooling, I decided to take my kids somewhere we would never go any other time because it's so crowded and so terrible. And it was the St. George City Center splash pad. And it was so empty. And we were like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And then we went to Judd's afterwards and got ice cream. And then we did this for probably 2 or 3 years. This is my 3rd daughter, Everly. And you can see from 1 year to the next, she did not change her favorite flavor of ice cream. It stayed the same. So, and we always have my husband join us, even though he works in town. But he always comes and joins us. And so it's a lot of fun for the kids. So now they're a little bit bigger. My oldest is 14, turning 15. So things had to change a bit. He's not super interested in going to the splash pad anymore. So as he got older, we kind of outgrew the splash pad and decided to try new things. So we've done Jellystone, we've done bowling, we've done movie theater. So we still get ice cream. So we do something fun, although we have moved away a little bit from our traditional splash pad visit. So a few more traditions that we do. We go school shopping with mom. Each kid, I have 5 of them. I take them on a little personalized date, and they get to choose all their school supplies, and they get to choose some new clothes, and we make a day of it, and they have a lot of fun with that. And that's my youngest. They also do shoe shopping with dad. So again, we like to wrap dad into this too, and he feels really left out if we don't. So we do shoe shopping with dad, which he loves. And then likewise, like Deneigh, we do back to school pictures every year. And this was our first official year homeschooling, and I just love watching them just grow, and it just gives me all the warm fuzzies. We always start our homeschool on the first Monday in August, so that's Monday. And we always take that first holiday being the first day of public school. And then because we start early in August, we take all of December off, and we focus on other things during that month. So that's kind of the things my kids can count on every year. I think that's my last slide, yeah. Okay, that's how we do it.
Hey, you guys are awesome, and I need to be invited to your parties.
Come.
Because I'm not a party person, and I don't do the photos, which I've always thought I should and would love to, but it never happens. And we don't do the school shopping either. Just whatever you have in your closet that was handed down, that's what you wear. I'm going to talk about planning, because it's something that I've been doing for a while. And the history of this is probably close-ish to 2020 or shortly thereafter. I was just like, all my kids are in like the thick of this. Well, I probably had like a 4-year-old at the time, 3-year-old, and they're all getting to different stages. And I was like overwhelmed because I'm failing. No one knows how to read. No one knows how to do their math. No one knows how to spell. Like, Like, I think they're not better off with me, actually. And so I was just like, I don't know what to do. So I just had this, I used to like to like pull out a big roll of butcher paper and make like signs, I don't know, for like happy birthday or whatever. So I just rolled out this huge butcher paper and I just started writing. And I just started like going for it. Like all these things came to my mind, and then I started drawing like calendars and all this stuff. And as I was drawing, that was enough time to maybe process and think and do this big planning. And I made this huge butcher paper, probably as long as this table, planning sheet of what I wanted to do. And I was like, oh my goodness, this is genius. I don't want to forget this. So I took that butcher paper and I put it in my toilet bathroom room, you know, like that where you sit down, so I could see it. So you could see it every day. And I was like, I actually really love this because I've done so many planning and it's just like, I don't even know where the planner is anymore. So it was just like on there. And so I did it again the next semester and the next semester and the next semester. And it's become my tradition. And I was like, about a year ago, I was like, I need to share this with people, but I don't really know how, because it's kind of like my thing. And am I going to just invite people with butcher paper and like draw a calendar? Nobody wants to draw a calendar. And so, so I try to make it as best as I can in this little homeschool journal. But before I show you, some of you know my children, some of you don't. Just ignore the names, please. Oh no, this is the wrong one. Well, it's half of it. Anyways, it was a butcher paper like this, and it had calendars and all the planning, but it's all in here, so that's okay. We'll go through it. So this is my way of trying to share and maybe like give back or have it be a resource someday for people, if it works out for you. And what I think is great about it is that I personally think anyone can fit it into their life, no matter what their style, if it's like whatever floats your boat or whatever we want to do for the moment. So anyway, okay, so my inspiration that you can go to that I kind of had already read was, of course, 7 Habits for Highly Effective People, my favorite. I don't know, it's a golden gem from like the 1990s. If your parents had a Franklin planner, there you go. And then Teaching from Rest, this is like the crux of what I'm going to talk to you about. And then I recently read one called Tranquility by Tuesday, which is another one about like planning and has some great ideas. And then The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry. And if you've read that one, that's an excellent book. It is a Christ-centered book, but I just think everyone can learn from it. And then some people, Jesse Itzler has this calendar. I won't say the name, but he's like a millionaire who talks about building your life resume and planning like adventures and planning your life. So it was just another way for me to like think about planning everything intentionally. Brad Turner, he's a real estate agent, and he does something that I'm going to show you. And Sarah McKenzie, the 6-week schedule, which is in Teaching from Rest. Okay, so next. Okay, so we all know, I'll go through this quickly because I'll go to the main thing. You can go to the next one. So of course you all want to go to your why of your personal homeschool. And then the next big thing is, like they said, think about your kids and their needs. So hopefully you're all doing that. We'll skip. Okay, this is where I think it gets really fun and interesting. You can go to the next page. So I started by doing this self-rating. And I would put down on a grid, because I'm kind of a math nerd too, I'd put down a grid of like 10 areas, 7 to 10 areas of homeschool that I think are important. And this is why it can fit to anybody. Some semesters I've put like the things on here. Some semesters I've put devotional or free play or social or like being with friends or whatever. And then I rate myself and how we're doing on a scale of 1 to 10 in every area. And they suggest don't do 7, because 7 is super easy to be like, I'm all right. that it's a way to give yourself a boost to be either like a 9 or a 4. So rate yourself. And that is in this little book. So you could do math, you could do read alouds, you could do devotional, you could do one-on-one time, like whatever you think is important, rate yourself. And this is where I think it's really important, because you have so many things on your mind. You're like, I need to do everything, because if you're in a homeschool, you are in charge of everything, right? You're in charge of whether they know how to read, spell, like you're in charge of it all. So that's overwhelming. So from there, pick 3 and only 3 to focus on. And when you pick 3, what it does, it just kind of like narrows your mind. And it doesn't mean the other ones are important, but it means those are the ones you're going to like really focus on. And more than often, the other ones will also get worked on, but you pick the 3, and it doesn't have to be the lowest one. Sometimes we've had ones like science, or that is at like really high, but we like that groove, and that's what we value. That's why we go back to who are your kids? What do they need? And so sometimes the ones that we pick are not necessarily the low ones, but they're the high ones because we want to keep them high. So that's why, so if you pick 3. And then from there, I pick 3 like goals to work on in every area. So if I pick math, say I want my kids to learn, you don't even have to pick 3. Like sometimes I've done read aloud because I'm really bad at read alouds and finishing read alouds. So the whole goal is to finish a book, frankly. And it's not because we don't like it, it's just because I'm lazy. But so you pick 3 goals, and then that is going to guide the next step. So you put that aside for a minute, and then, so I'm doing it super fast. Okay, I also love to just do the whole calendar. And in mine, it was like really colorful, and I had all the days, because when you write stuff down, it becomes more solidified, and it gives you time to think as you're writing, right? So I would plan out the whole year, like, and here's all the birthdays, here's our vacations, here's the sports events. So I just like had a big picture of what's happening. Then going to the Sarah Mackenzie thing, I literally would say, so Sarah Mackenzie says you should, one idea that really struck a chord for me was do 6 weeks on and 1 week off. And I've been doing that for so long, and finally this co-op I'm in started doing it. I'm like, oh, bless you all. Because sometimes it's hard to do that, because if it's your like off week or your Sabbath week, everybody else is still doing stuff. So it's hard, but I would sometimes make that 6th week be fall break, or just like kind of so I could see detailed where my 6 weeks are. And what I love about 6 weeks is because if you have a curriculum, like it gives you enough time to try a curriculum or try a method or try a routine and give it like an honest go. And that 6 weeks, if it's like, this is great, keep doing it. If it's not great, let's throw it out and do something else. But you have a week to reassess. So I love to schedule the 6 weeks so I know exactly what's happening. So I'll schedule 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, this is off. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, this is off. Oh, this is Christmas schooling. This is like, we're taking a week of vacation in California, so that is going to be our off week. Or we'll just make that be our vacation. We'll make 5 be later. So it's really helpful so I can like really feel grounded in knowing what's happening. So then from there, so you have like the bigger picture, and you kind of like start zooming in a little bit more. So next, so this is helpful for me. So I would first I put in like, then I make a weekly schedule. And I say, okay, here are the things that are set in stone every week. And you put in co-ops, you put in music lessons, you put in like whatever is set in stone. And then I start to build like, okay, what are my homeschool hours? So my homeschool hours would be like from 9 to noon. And then I'm like, what does that look like for me from 9 to noon? And so for me, I like to do what I call academic skill building hour. And so for an hour, the kids, and I'm still trying to get ready, clean up breakfast or whatever, they're doing their reading, writing, math, and like stuff that they can mostly do independently. Sometimes they need my help a little bit, and an hour is enough time for them to do that. And then So I just start scheduling, like, when are we going to typically eat lunch? Now, I would say I would follow this probably 40% of the time, if even that, but at least I have some structure in my brain of where we're going for the day. So then from there, this is how I do my 6 weeks. I take the 6 weeks and I do 3 2-week chunks, if that makes sense. So, and I call them units. So week 1 and 2 is unit 1, 3 and 4 is unit 2, 5 and 6 is unit 3. And so I say, okay, within 1 unit, 2 weeks, because I like 2 weeks, because sometimes I like to do, instead of, I like to do like science for 2 weeks. And that's all we did, was science and our academic skills, and then their free play or whatever. Sometimes I like to do what Sarah McKenzie did, like an ABC schedule, where you did like science, history, math, or whatever, read alouds, and you rotate through those through ABC, which I'm sure a lot of you have read. So I go back to the things that were most important for me to my homeschool. And sometimes it's a read aloud, so I'll be like, okay, read aloud, and this is what I want to do in read aloud. Sometimes I'm like, oh, I want to study. Last year I tried to study the word aloha, because I'm Hawaiian, and aloha is a beautiful word with a lot of meaning. So I wrote down all the words, the meanings of aloha, and I was like, okay, every 2 weeks we're going to study a different attribute, and that helped to guide the read aloud or the poem or devotionals or something like that, which none of us have memorized a poem, just so you know. Like, so it's just like, this is my ideal of what I'm shooting for. And for me, it helps keep me grounded, and like, I don't have to do everything, but I take those 3 things that I decided I wanted to work at the beginning, and I put them in like the unit studies and where I want to go. And for me, it's important to have nature days, 3 nature days per 6 weeks. So I go back to the calendar and I put those nature days in there. And then I want to have, a random, like, it's called a just because we can day. We call it a just because we can day. And we just wake up and do whatever we want. And I like actually schedule those sometimes, just because sometimes it doesn't happen. And so with this book, so anyways, I go back to the calendar and I schedule those in as best as I can. And then that helps me decide where the gaps are. Like, oh, I need to find some science curriculum, or I need to find a book. And then that just helps keep me grounded in there. This is where I figure out what supplies I need, maybe what community resources I need. Maybe I schedule hikes with friends. So this is kind of like, that's how I flow it all together. And then it is hard for me to have it in this little book, because I really do like it in my toilet room. So I was like, maybe you could just tear it out and just pin it up there or something like that. So that is how I call it intentional homeschool planning, because it's like you're being intentional with your time and your focus, and then also like when you're going to do it and what resources you need. And it's helped me a ton be a little bit less crazy and a little bit anxious about needing to do everything. And that's it.
So did you make this into a PDF?
I made it into like a little booklet that I'm still kind of working on a little bit.
Not shareable yet.
Yeah, I'm trying to, I gave it to some friends to use and to get some feedback.
Beta testing.
Yeah, like a beta testing, yeah. But I have a PDF explanation that I could just send, with all the steps I basically said. I can send. Honestly, my favorite way is to do it with colored markers and on a big butcher paper. It just because it also takes time to do that. Sure. Opening this book doesn't take as much time as drawing out 1-inch squares for June, right? And
Totally.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay.
We have 5 kids, and sometimes it's always on. When do you find time to go lock yourself in the library and draw this thing? Because they're pounding down the bathroom doors.
That's a good question. I actually asked my husband to leave with all the children. So there you go. For at least a half a day, ideally a day. super ideally overnight. But I mean, if that can't happen, I'm like, if during a movie or whatever, just do it. You gotta squeeze it in when you can.
What about you two? Where do you find some time?
I get Fridays. My husband lets me take myself to lunch. And then Mother's Day, I always get a hotel for 2 nights and do whatever or nothing. That is a gift to myself. But Fridays, he'll usually do something like a hike or something with the kids, so I at least have some time. And then I'll just go either stay home. It's nice when there's nobody there. But also, yeah, I'll go to lunch. Or that's what I do.
Yeah, I don't do that. So I wake up at a normal time, I think for me, and try to exercise. And then I hope that my 4-year-old doesn't come in and want to snuggle. He gets really upset if I don't snuggle him. And then after they go to bed, that's it. Because it's just busy. It's go, go, go all day. So. But we do take Fridays off of school. I will say that. We don't do school on Friday. We have
No, we don't school Friday.
whatever we want day. It usually ends up hiking and I think all of us need that. It's like a reset, recharge type of thing.
I use a school nest planner, and not that I scrapbook my stuff, but it helps me because we use Open Ed, and so I can screenshot and be like, this is what we did with 3 sentences, and then they can see. So that's kind of what I do, and I just use a little Instax thing to print them off. But my girls also are doing their own journaling at the same time, so we just print off a bunch of what we did, and then they journal what we did for the week. So I do some of that. I do. Some people, I don't know. The 6 week, but some people will every 4 weeks on purpose. They'll do that because they're this is not the week to be homeschooled. So everybody does different. We do try and kind of follow the school year with some of our stuff because then they can play with friends or whatever. But we never school on Fridays. We do a homeschool field trip group, but that's just a little bit in the morning, but we don't. I don't know. I kind of do some of the stuff. And absolutely everyone should read Teaching from Rest. I do feel like it's really good. I try and read that every year. So.
I have a running document that I have, a Google Doc that I've kept every year for what classes we're taking, which is really handy when you start to get a high schooler, because then you need to have a transcript, right? Mm-hmm. So that's a good habit to get into anyways, is just keeping track of what they're learning. But so I have every year on a Google Doc, and I just keep going down. And I have the calendars on my Google Doc that I what do you call it? The charts that I put in there to have the days. So that helps me. I'm not creative. I don't draw. So that would be frustrating for me.
I really
Too much
don't
of a perfectionist.
I'd be like, yeah, it's not working.
Yeah, not really either.
So
If you could see my drawings.
I would just stare at it and be like, but nothing's coming to me. So, but doing a Google Doc does help me stay organized like that.
I feel like homeschooling can get overwhelming when you're trying to hit every subject, which is how I started, and I was like, I can't do this. So I like this ABC method. You're not always doing science or I don't even know what some of the other extra.
I feel much less stressed. For me, I feel much less stressed about some things than others. Science and history, I usually alternate.
That's what we do.
But LA and math, I do every day.
Yep.
So I think that's just my kids' needs, and also that's my comfort zone as well. But I think it just helps to rotate things in and out. Or typing, we've never done typing, but this year I realized, okay, they need to type. So we're gonna do typing, right? But it's not an every year need.
Yeah.
So
I think I've done it both ways, where I pick a subject and do it 2 weeks. And I like that because it's you know what you're doing and you kind of dive into it. But I've done it both ways.
Yeah, you're not interrupting. I like that idea.
Yeah, because you're not
focus on
interrupting the thought and the storyline or whatever. And we do a little bit of Fridays because we actually frankly don't do a lot during the week.
You're all about the fun, right? Make it fun.
I know.
I think I heard all of you mention it's okay to not do something, boot it if it's not working. I would love to hear for your families, what are some of the things you booted out?
I think my first year of homeschooling, I was super comfortable just trying a lot of different things, and I think that's my style anyways. We don't stick to one specific curriculum, but I think we tried Good and Beautiful, and that did not work for a lot of my kids. So I don't do it. I do it for some now because I have a lot of littles that jives with, but my olders, that doesn't jive with them. So I don't know. I think it's just being like flexible, not thinking I have to finish this whole book. If it's not working, it's not working, and then you don't do it.
We booted Good and the Beautiful too for my oldest, her 7th grade year. It was just like not clicking. It was really hard. And again, I prayed a ton about it. And Dennis and math fell into my lap, and I was like, okay, we're going to stop this and move to this. And literally that is the first thing she wants to do every day. And so I think that that's one of them. Fix a grammar. No, like it wasn't for us, even though everybody raved. And I was like, well, I think it'll be good. It's not for her. So like those things.
I think I booted just like curriculums. Just like, which is funny though, because last year I did get like a Good and the Beautiful curriculum for language arts for my 10-year-old. And for some reason it just kind of like worked, even though he hated it, but it just kind of like worked for like what we needed. But I think overall I've booted curriculum. I like the little ones that are like maybe electives that are like 6 weeks long or something like that, like unit studies. I like those actually, but I have bought like big spiral books of like math and language arts and none of those because I realize you're not trying to like, if you're not trying to replicate public school at home, like that is basically replicating public school at home. And I'm not inspired by it, so why would they be inspired by it? I've also booted a lot of read alouds, like like Treasure Island was so hard to read. And I was like 50 pages left. I was like, I can't do it anymore. And I just like chucked it. But my husband, who likes to talk in a pirate accent, was like, I'll finish it. And I was like, go for it. But like, and the kids actually enjoyed it better than listening to me. But a lot of read alouds. I'm like, oh, that was boring. Or maybe we're not interested in, I don't know, maybe I just have a whole bunch of ADHD children. But like, anyway, that's what we've booted.
I feel like if we're frustrated, they're frustrated. So, yeah.
So if you don't use like a curriculum, I mean, you probably, what do you do for math?
Okay, I might use, I don't know, we just buy seeds. I've just ended up doing CTC math because here's the thing about math. I think like if you know, I had a math teacher tell me once, you could do all of elementary school math in 1 year when they're like 12.
Yeah.
So I just kind of like do it just to kind of like get them involved. I do want to focus, math is one of my actually things that I want to focus this year to get my kids really good at their, I think, multiplication. And I notice like my son is like, doesn't understand. He's like earning a lot of money watching dogs, and he's like might have too much for his own good because he just like gave $40 to his friends for some like toys, like 3D printed toys. I'm all, oh, okay. Anyway, just like some kids. So anyways, so math, yeah, we do CTC. It's just like one lesson a day.
What are the ages of your kids?
I have 13, 11, 9, 6, and baby.
So the funny thing about Math Hill is like, I have one of my children who thought that she was, well, I have one girl, but she was like dumb in math. So she decided to take it in at the high school to see like how she fared. And she did all right. Like there were some gaps to do, but what was interesting though was she like actually loved going there. Like I never like drilled it in her and like you had it, but she actually really loved going there and loved learning math, and she thought it was fun. And she was just like kind of not in awe, but just like she would comment a lot about like how everybody hated it and like they were not very nice, but she's like, I actually like learning this. And math is really not her like forte. Like that's not, anyway. So anyway, that's good.
Don't underestimate games. Just
yeah, we
playing
did a lot of games.
A lot of games.
What are some of your favorite games? for it?
Right now, my 8-year-old is like obsessed with this multiplication like swat it game. And so she likes that. That's kind of like math, but anything you can honestly turn into, I don't know, we're just gamers. We like to play a lot of like word games too, and we'll do like the banana one, and I don't know, just, yeah. I also, totally side note, but speaking of games, I was thinking of dice. We often, when I have a reluctant kiddo not wanting to do stuff, we use the dice as the bad guys. So I say, okay, roll the dice. It'll decide if we're doing odds or evens, or it'll decide how many problems you have to do or whatever, because then it's not me, it's not a power struggle. You're in charge of what we do. So sometimes that like just takes away some of the angst in the room and everybody struggling. So
we like Splendor for math.
oh yeah,
Okay.
Splendor's a good math game.
That's funny. I've never played that with my kids.
Monopoly, Life.
we
is
do
another one.
Azul, but I have a kiddo that's like
Azul.
obsessed with patterns, and so Azul, and there's like a cat one, Calico, and she does that one all the time. But again, they're all like super good. Also, there's, I don't know who it was, somebody up north. It was a class on like college, like worrying about that, and she was saying that you should have your kids in 10 minutes of like logic and reasoning and stuff every day. And so my kids, we have, I don't know, the brand is Haba, and it's like this little thing, and you put the cards in, and they have to figure out what the question is. And if it's right, they pull the thing, or they put the thing in, and then you can pull the card out and put it behind. My kids are obsessed. Like my daughter, I have to stop her. I'm like, you only get to do 5 a day, critical thinking. And they say colleges look for kids that do that. So my oldest will do like the, what is it called? Cluedel, Merduco, like just things like that that get them thinking. But there are books, if you look up logical thinking for kids, there's like a nitty gritty dirt something, not dirt band, but nitty gritty. So those kind of things. But Haba, Haba is, they have extensions, but you have to at least have one starter set, and they have them from like 4 to 7 or 8. Anyways, those are good ones.
Another,
7, 8, 9 is the fun.
yeah.
Oh, that's it.
Another fun math thing was, and reading for like early readers, was those Osmo. Have you seen that?
Mm-hmm.
Osmo is super fun. You just put it on your iPad. It has manipulatives and fun games.
So for us, we mostly family school. So like history, science, we do together. LA, we do together as well. So, but my older kids do need more. So typically I'll have them do something above and beyond and they can do that kind of more self-directed. Right. So that's my 14-year-old and my 12-year-old. And actually my 9-year-old is pretty good at being a little more self-directed. So she's able to be like, hey, I need you to go write me a paragraph on blah, blah, blah. And so they'll go to the table and they'll do that. And also what we do is rotate. So like if my oldest is finished with his math, he'll go read to the little boys. And then I'll be able to help whoever is next kind of needing help with math. So we kind of have to, you know,
I feel like I learned from some really wise women in our co-op that if the younger kids go first,
For me, I think it's just when I had separate, I actually used to do the rotation too. And one of the rotations was to play with the littles. And so sometimes, so I would have a rotation where they were like maybe reading, maybe on a computer, like doing CTC math or something, IXL or something. And then someone was with me, and then someone was with the baby. And so the baby got played with like for 2 hours straight with someone different. So I've done that. I've done family school. There's been years where we just barely learn anything because it's just like we're just trying to do the best we can. But I think that when you set up your schedule, you could also set up time for like, this is the family, this is like kids go outside, and like the teens or whatever. I don't have my kids do any like above and beyond stuff because they probably wouldn't. But as they get older, they've been in classes that like require stuff of them, and so it's mostly like we're structured in the morning, and the afternoon is more like, okay, you do the things that you need for your classes, and the little kids can play. So it is doable. It does seem overwhelming, and that's why I started this, was like, okay, this is overwhelming. I have lots of different ages. I don't know how to fulfill the needs of everything. But if I picked 3 things that the family needed, that helped a lot like reduce my anxiety, because in the end, it's like, why are you homeschooling? And for me, the why it's changed, but a lot of us homeschool for relationships and for like independent growth. And so if all I'm doing is like gathering them every day and like we're on the couch reading like one scripture or whatever, then maybe that's good, because that's what we're focusing on. That's our like main thing we're focusing on for the day. I've even had my focus be like the schedule. Like we're gonna try as hard as we can be schedule. I didn't really care so much what we did in the schedule, but like we're gonna try our best to like maybe keep a routine and see how that works for us.
We did lots of packets for, my daughter was 18 months the first time we started, and I had only homeschool packets for my youngest. And so she could only get them out when we were working on stuff. Also, my favorite thing is when their hands are busy, their minds are on. So even if you're doing like, say, a read aloud, have them coloring, playing with Legos, doing Play-Doh, something, because they are listening, or like a Yoda or whatever they're gonna use. But that's also helpful, is if they're doing something with their hands, they can be listening. And that's like a lifelong skill, is listening. So, but that's more like read aloud or whatever. But yeah, we had something only for homeschool, or it was like she would be watercoloring or whatever, those dollar store ones you can buy while my oldest did school, but that was her homework and she thought that was cool. So that was like keeping her busy.
To your point, I worked 14 years as a school psychologist. And so my job, like I said, was I was an educational investigator. So I helped teachers and parents figure out how to maximize a student's learning potential, essentially, whether that was classroom management, a behavior plan, or like an individual, like an IEP, which is special education. And I worked a lot in high school. Like my first probably 6 years were just strictly high school. And so I would retest the kids who'd been in special ed since before third grade, mostly. Most of the time you're in special education like services by the time you're in third grade. And it's rare that you'll get caught after that, but it's like most of the time, most of them are like, they'll give you a special ed need by third grade. So a lot of these kids had been in there by third grade. And as I was like, and they need a retest every 3 years to make sure that we still need to give them services. And so I would do that a lot. And what I noticed were everybody hated school in third grade by the time they were in high school. And they hated it because it was like they'd been in special ed classes for so long that it wasn't necessarily that they were dumb. It's just that they'd been pounded these classes so much that were hard for them, that they didn't like so hard that it became something they hated. And what I learned in observing, then going to like elementary and all across the board, was that it's kind of like potty training or walking. By the time you're a certain age, nobody cares anymore. You just walk, or you just go to the bathroom typically, if you're a typical. And that's kind of how it was for reading and writing and math. Like you're like, to his point, at a certain point, we all just figure it out. Like there's a point where we become even within a certain like range, but the difference is how much they loved or hated it. That was the major difference. Whether it didn't matter like their IQ, their learning disability. I think the difference was their desire. Like, so just so you know, it all evens out, just to his point.
Something I heard at a different panel was to do like one subject at a time. Or like when you start a new school year, to be like, hey, this week we're doing language arts. Next week we're gonna do language arts and math. Then we're gonna try adding
just
on,
trickle it in.
Kind of like building. Kind of
We've done that like kind of like an airplane, just like ease in,
Yeah.
like slowly.
And maybe even take one through, like whatever you can handle, you know. And then like, okay, now we're gonna add in this other thing I think is really important for us. I thought that was a good idea.
That's good. Yeah, we've totally done that.
I would be more excited if I started like 6 things and then started
Taking them away.
It's like you got to be the mean teacher first and like back off. Yeah. If you're the nice teacher first, you're like, what's happening?
Yeah. We usually do core and then we add in the science, and we do that same thing every other day. science and history, but we don't start that till like a month into school. Like we wait on that, and we take the gather round like type homeschool. We share a table, but I'm doing American Girl doll. We're doing that history, like every single book. But my oldest, I just give her more things. Me and ChatGPT are like this, and we create curriculum like nobody's business for my oldest to like add in things. So she's still learning it with her, but we're just adding in more. So it can be reimbursed too. PS, if you get funding, ChatGPT and Canva is reimbursed. If you don't know that.
Oh.